I see a soldier, no, a general, riding across the stage with a sword and a gun and the most beautiful uniform ever made. People will come from all over the world, and when they see him, they won't laugh.
Welcome back to Disney Marvels for week of February 27th, 2022. This is episode 166. Disney Marvels, the show about Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Muppets, Pixar, 20th Century, the parks, and much, much more. If it has to do with Disney, it's fair game. I'm your host, Matthew Graken. So the latest poll was now with the first reviews and videos of the Galactic Star Cruiser out. What are your thoughts? Answers were already booked, still on the fence, too expensive, or not interested. And I am a little surprised, but not completely surprised, by the results here. 9% of you are still on the fence. 18% of you are already booked. Enjoy your voyage. Safe travels, and may the stars guide you. 28% said you're not interested. 45%. And I kind of understand where you're coming from here. But 45% of you said it is too expensive. It depends on your viewpoint. I guess I can agree with you on that. I agree with you on the point that it is expensive. But after hearing and seeing some of and a lot of what is going on there, I can understand the price point, though I do agree that it may be still a little on the high side. But the product that you're giving or getting it's hard to duplicate or say that you can compare it to many other things. At least that is what I've been hearing and experiencing from people who have experienced this. And this is something that we will have to delve in later. Maybe I'll try to get on someone who has firsthand knowledge and experience with the Galactic Star Cruiser, with the Halcyon, and we will see. We will see how time will tell. Time will tell about the fate of the Halcyon. Given the chance, I would absolutely jump at it. But I'd have to be given that chance. And on that bombshell, we'll be back after these messages from our friends and sponsors.
Hi Disney Marvels fans, my name's Tash and my BFF Mercedes and I make a weekly podcast dedicated to all things Disney. From music, movies and food and parks to fun weekly challenges, we discuss it all over at Chat Disney. You can find us on Instagram at Chat Disney or Twitter at Chat Disney UK. We release weekly episodes every Monday morning, which can be found on Spotify and the Apple Podcast app. Bye for now.
And now, on with the show.
Look out, 'cause here I come. This is me.
March 9th, 2016. I was on a train with my family to Newark, New Jersey, to the Prudential Center, The Rock, the home of the New Jersey Devils. Not to see a hockey game, but to see the greatest show on earth. To go take my family to see the circus. The clowns, the high wire acts, the spectacle, the animals, and it was amazing. As a father, I I was excited for my kids, and I was happy. Their happiness of seeing the show, like I said, spectacle in front of them, and how it played out, made me happy. And it was a moment, a family moment, that I will cherish forever. Unbeknownst to us at that very time, this will be the last opportunity that we will have ever had to experience Barnum and Bailey's Ringling Brothers Circus. And it's sad now I understand things change and change for a reason, and I'm not getting into that. I'm speaking purely from a family moment, that this was really enjoyable, and it is a loss. Anytime you lose something that a family can do together and enjoy is a loss. It is a loss for society. Not long after that, my wife sends me a message. I was at work. There's a trailer for a movie coming out. And this movie was called The Greatest Showman. Okay, what is this? And I watched the preview. There's Hugh Jackman. The music's playing. And instantly, I knew he was playing P.T. Barnum. And unfortunately, we never got the opportunity to see the movie in the theaters. We as soon as the Blu-ray came out, we purchased it. But life being as life is, it's sad in its container. Okay, we'll get to it. Once we'll find a moment, we're gonna make sure we get to this. That movie came out in 2017. Here it is, 2022, and I'm finally able to deliver my review of The Greatest Showman, starring Hugh Jackman, Michelle Williams, Zac Efron, and Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, and many, many other superbly talented performers. I'm going to break the mold here. And I will tell you that out of 10, you got Matthew, you're crazy. You're giving us your rating on it already? Yes, because I want to get out of the way and talk some more about this movie. They give you some more, fill in some information where the movie doesn't have. Out of 10, and again, this may be a little controversial, and what is it with your rating system? I'm giving this a 9, and I will explain to you, it deserves the 9 in my eyes, because as soon as I finished watching this movie, I wanted to go back and watch it again. Is it the greatest movie out there? No. Is it the greatest musical out there? No. Could this musical be on Broadway? Absolutely. And I think it would be fantastic on Broadway. Is the music on it addictive and catchy? Yes. For me, I find this music so compelling. They even did a reimagined album of the music with pop stars doing it. Kelly Clarkson, Pink, so many others. Panic at the Disco, I believe. They do a fantastic job, but you don't even need that. You have the original cast recording, which is spectacular. This Is Me is a powerful, powerful anthem, which most people probably have heard of by this time. It was played often, and it is again, very empowering anthem that many people can relate to in one form or fashion. I knew the music beforehand. it's being that I couldn't watch. I heard the songs and I just had to hear more of them. So I've been listening to the music for a while now, and like I said, I finally got around to watching the movie to understand the songs better. I enjoy the songs for what they were by themselves, but now seeing the movie and being able to put the story to the songs and what character is singing what and why just makes them that much more tangible. It's I first I thought it was a Baz Luhrmann movie, which was just, if you're familiar with Moulin Rouge, it's a very similar style cinematics of how everything is performed and shot, the color saturations, movements, but it's not. It's not. It's actually directed by a gentleman called Michael Gracie, whose credits include Ned Kelly, Pink Album, Rocket Man, Greatest Showman, obviously. What is this one? Natasha Bedingfield. So a bunch of music videos. He's good in the music area. This has been a project that Hugh Jackman worked on for quite some time, that he wanted to get off the ground. I think actually I saw about 2006, 2007 was something that he wanted to do. And you follow the life of P.T. Barnum, Phineas Taylor Barnum, who was born July 5th, 1810 in Bethel, Connecticut. His father was a tailor. At least portrayed in this movie, his father was a tailor, and he followed him as an apprentice. And you kind of get the weird relationship. It's very brief, but you get the weird relationship between the father and his son. Inevitably, have a little bit of a spoiler, but not too much what I give away will be true spoilers. Father passes away. He is left to fend for himself and create a life for himself. And you can see that he has this, it's portrayed that he has this imagination. He dreams of something bigger, but he doesn't know what. And he knows he wants to go out and do something, but he's not sure, again, what it is. He was 15 when his father died. You don't get the sense of that in the movie of how old he was. He actually seems like he's younger. That's based on the actor that they had portraying him. They do leave out that he had to support his mother and 5 sisters. His brother, 5 sisters and brothers, which largely fell on his shoulder to do. And this was not easy, but again, that's something that the movie did not go into. There's a few things in his life that the movie doesn't go into. It shows that he does eventually marry the girl of his dreams, and she goes along with him. This was in 1829. He was actually only 19 when he married a 21-year-old Bethel woman named Charity Hallett. They have 4 daughters together. The movie only portrays 2. And in 1834, they moved to New York City, where he would eventually inevitably become the showman. But before that, they show him in a office setting and losing his job. It actually turns out he had many jobs, which they do reference some of them in the movie as little hidden background notes, that like Barnum's Lottery, he for a time did run a lottery. So the movie does touch ever so slightly on some of these details, but never fully. You do have to keep in mind, there's always so much you can put in a movie, and you want to condense things down as far as characters as far as time, so not to drag things out. They mentioned that he bids on this building. He actually outbidded a bunch of wealthier people to acquire John Scudder's American Museum, which is in New York City. It was a five-story marble structure filled with stuffed animals, waxwork figures, and similar conventional exhibits. So they touch on that. They didn't mention how much of a battle it was for him to get in there, nor does it mention that there's some of the stuff that they displayed in the movie was actually already there to begin with. He rapidly transforms the museum into a carnival of human curiosities, in dramatic theaters, a beauty contest, and other sensational attractions. They skip over one big thing, which I won't touch on either, because purchasing people was wrong then, it's wrong now, and we'll move on from that. But it shows the growth of his character. Just why I bring it up, because this is something that, even though he did it in the past, it shows how someone can change in the future, and I'll get into that. 1842, when he took over the American Museum, to 1868 is when he gave it up after it caught fire twice. They portrayed once in the movie, but two fires destroyed it. Barnum gradually his showmanship enticed 82 million visitors amongst them, and this is at the American Museum. Amongst them was Henry and William James, Charles Dickens, and Edward the Seventh, the Prince of Wales, all came to his halls to view what was going on, plus some of the other stuff he did. Among the genuine curiosities were the Chang and Eng Siamese twins, conjoined by a ligament at their breastbone. It was, however, Charles Stretton, a man of only 25 inches, who was discovered by Barnum that proved to be his most profitable exhibit, ballyhooing Stretton as General Tom Thumb. So this is portrayed in the movie. Apparently, Barnum actually met Charles Stratton when he was much younger. Stratton was younger, and actually took him in and had him as part of his family. That was in some of the articles I was reading. That was not exactly portrayed in this aspect of the movie, but it was quite. You do see the kind of the connection that this was someone that he focused on. Barnum sold 20 million tickets at the museum after being received by the U.S. press. Abraham Lincoln, Barnum, and Tom Thumb enjoyed a triumphant tour abroad, during which the latter gave a command performance before Queen Victoria. That is portrayed in the movie, but again, differently. In the movie, everyone is there. Real life, it was Barnum and Charles Stratton were the only ones that actually performed for the Queen. But that aside, eager to change his image from promoter to human curiosities to impresario of artistic attractions, Barnum risked his entire fortune by importing Jenny Lind, a Swedish soprano, who he had never heard sing. He never met her before, but it was unknown completely in the United States. Dubbing Lind the Swedish Nightingale, Barnum mounted the most massive publicity campaign he had ever attempted. Lind's opening night in New York City before a capacity audience of 5,000, and her 9 months of concerts across the United States earned immense sums of money. This is portrayed in the movie, and along with some of the troubles that he got into, or at least in the movie, portrayed troubles that fell upon him for his focus on not the museum and what was going on there, but the performances of Jenny Lind and possibly some other distractions that came out of that. The song that is performed there is stunning. It is beautiful. It's a fantastic ballad, and it plays out well. It plays out so well. You really get the power and the sensation. You get pulled into that performance alone, and you kind of understand where Barnum is going with it, and why he became so distracted by it, and how it could have really worked out for him, and how it, at least in the movie, how it didn't. So it is something else. The movie ends, as I mentioned, with the fires and then him moving on. Now, some of the stuff that I thought was interesting, that I must be for, I guess, rights reasons. So you have P.T. Barnum, and we know Barnum's partner was Bailey, but they never actually have Bailey's character in the movie. It was, I don't know why. Like I said, probably because maybe the family wouldn't let them use the name or something along that line. So Zac Efron, who is the Bailey character, was actually labeled as Philip Carlyle, and some people are assuming that this is a combination of different characters. Same with the character that Zendaya plays. Zendaya, pardon me, it is Ann Wheeler, a trapeze artist. Both have similarities to people around that time and involvement, but aren't the people that they're kind of portraying in the movie. Some of the stuff that in Barnum's life that wasn't portrayed, which I thought would brought a little more weight into the story, but I kind of understand why they didn't, because you don't want to bog it down too much. One of his daughters died in childhood. This is probably one that this is one of the ones that they did not have portrayed. Another one was dropped from his will for committing adultery. Disappointed because he had no male heir, Barnum left a sizable bequest to his grandson on the condition that he agreed to use Barnum as part of his name. After 44 years of marriage, Charity Barnum died in 1873. The following year, P.T. Barnum, who was then 64, took a 24-year-old wife, Nancy Fisher, the daughter of a British admirer, for his second wife. So is the crazy life. Although his name is properly linked to the circus, Barnum did not actually in fact become a circus showman until he was past the age of 60. Barnum did not invent the modern circus, but in partnership with the retiring officiant Bailey, he did give the American spectacle a giant size in most memorable attractions, widely popularity, attempting to make it what he called the greatest show on earth. Barnum capped his circus career by purchasing a 6.5-ton elephant named Jumbo, who quickly earned back his purchase price during the first season under the big top. They do kind of touch on the elephant. They don't really go into the story of the elephant, giving the name or anything like that, but they do have the elephant in there. It does have a nice moment at the very climactic scene at the end. But timing of that is completely off because his girls are still young. He is still relatively younger at that point. But again, it's not supposed to be a perfect telling. It is a musical of it, where they take lots of liberties, and it gives you just enough information to make you want to learn more information, or just to appreciate what this man did and what he achieved and what he brought to the world. In his 81st year, Barnum did fall gravely ill, and at the request of the New York Times newspaper, published his obituary in advance so he may be able to enjoy it. 2 weeks later, after inquiring about the box office receipts of the circus, Barnum died in his Connecticut mansion. The Times of London echoed the world press in its final tribute. He created the métier of showman on a grandiose scale. He early realized that the essential fortune of a modern democracy, its readiness to be led to what will assume and instruct it. His name is a proverb already, and a proverb it will continue. Something else they mentioned there, and they didn't touch on in the movie, was he actually became a politician. He avocations of political writings, and after serving 2 terms in the Connecticut state legislature, he was elected mayor of Bridgeport, Connecticut, in which he fought prostitution and union discrimination against blacks. So despite some of his earlier life moments, he did go on and fight for civil rights. And that's something that they don't touch on the political end, but they do touch on the fact that he was bringing together people of all sorts to be unified and to be seen as equals. And this was something, particularly at that time, late 1800s, was really not heard of. You know, we see it now in this day and age and think of it as we're being progressive. And here's a man over 100 years ago, 130 years ago, was already starting to push that. And he didn't start off that way, but he did realize it. The movie in itself, like I said, takes a lot of liberties. It spins stuff. It skims over it. It alters history. Show me a movie that hasn't done that. I mean, look at Titanic, for crying out loud. It embellishes a lot of things about what happened on the Titanic and how the ship sunk and some of the stuff that's going on there. But yet people love it just the same. This is a movie very similar. It embellishes, it takes liberties of history, but in the end, The Greatest Showman is a movie that everyone can enjoy. Like the circus, it is a family affair to be able to sit down, to be able to watch this movie. The music is contagious. The cinematics, the choreography is spectacular. I wish I could remember the name of the song at the moment, but there's the one song that between Zac Efron and Hugh Jackman that they perform. That's it. The Other Side. When they perform The Other Side, 2 of them in a bar, 2 businessmen in a bar making a deal. Not very strange, particularly for that time. But the choreography between Zac Efron, Hugh Jackman, and the bartender, and the tricks that are going on, so smooth, so it's I want to say it's like watching a ballet because it's so much more enjoyable. Apologies to anyone who enjoys ballet or does ballet, but It is such a work of art, and just the way that the camera's panned and everything comes out spectacular. It really just draws you in, and just the energy of the song and the energy of the choreography meld so well together. Like I said, This Is Me, spectacular. Never Enough. That was the song that Jenny Lynn sings, and so beautiful. It's such a beautiful ballad, and the singer does the performer does such a great job with it. I forget if it actually is Rebecca Ferguson singing it or not. I apologize. I don't remember off the top of my head, but she does so well with it. And it does smack of what P.T. Barnum was going through. And you do see the progression of his character, of his search for acceptance, his search for showing people, look what I've done. Look what I can do. Look how much I have achieved. And not realizing how he's affected other people's lives. In the meantime, it was more self-focused. But by the end of this movie, he's awakened to realize that it's not so much about what I have accomplished for myself, but what I have done for all these other people. What I've given these other people that before wouldn't have had anything, wouldn't have been able to do anything, wouldn't have what they have now. And that's where things end, that his realization of what he truly has achieved is well beyond himself. Where he was focused on himself, everything fell apart. But once he realized to focus on the bigger scale, the bigger picture, right? Because that's what life is about. It's not about the small. It's about the bigger picture and how we can help our fellow humans out there. That's whenever things change. That's whenever we make an impact. That's whenever great things happen. And that's what's the kind of the message here in the movie at the end. This is one of the messages. Like I said, for me, 9 out of 10. As soon as I finished it, I wanted to go back, watch it again, because I enjoyed it that much. I put the music on in the car. I was playing it and basking, having it going along, singing along with it, and just truly take it in by it all. It's one of those soundtracks that you turn off for a while, you move on from it, but then it just pops back into your head and takes you back in and welcomes you back in, like a good old friend that's always there for you. So if you haven't seen The Greatest Showman yet, do yourself a favor, go on to Disney Plus, watch it, enjoy it, and thank me afterwards. Have you seen The Greatest Showman? And what did you think of it? Let me know. Shout it on the forums. Find us on the social networks, on Facebook. Our Facebook group is facebook.com/group/Disney Marvels Podcast. On Instagram, we're at Disney Marvels Podcast. TikTok at Disney Marvels Podcast. And on Twitter at Disney Marvels. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can find the audio feeds and some other stuff that I'll be posting up there shortly once I get technical things figured out. You can also leave us a voice message through our Anchor app or the Anchor.fm website, or record it on your electronic device, your laptop, tablet, or smartphone, and email it along with any questions or suggestions you may have for the show to disneymarvels@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out the Disney Marvels blog over at disneymarvels.blogspot.com. Links to all these are in the show notes. I want to thank you for your time. I know how little time we all have and how crazy life is. Very unfortunately, how crazy life is at this moment in time. The fact that we get to spend some time together as either an escape or just because you enjoy it, just because we're friends. And I do consider you guys all friends. It means a lot to me. And I can never thank you enough. But I can please ask of you, go onto Apple Podcasts, leave a rating for us there, and help the show out that way. Or feel free to tell other people as well. Tell people, check out the Disney Marvel podcast show. Lots of cool stuff that goes on there. Just send out the links on the social networks. Make sure to tag us so that way we could thank you personally. But yeah, put your links to the show out on social networks. Hey, check out this episode of Disney Marvels podcast. Really cool stuff. Learned about P.T. Barnum today. Woohoo! Really, we do this show because of you. There's a reason why we keep going. It is because of each and every one of you that come back week after week. And truly means a lot to us. Thank you so much. Again, just please keep sharing it out, because the more people in this Disney Marvel family, the better. Walt believed in a big Disney family, so do I. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. This way you always know when new episodes are posted. And also consider becoming a premium subscriber. Help the show out. You can do this over at anchor.fm/DisneyMarvel/support, or find our Patreon page, where you can get some cool stuff that way if you sign up. Or if you want to buy some cool stuff to help the show out that way, you can check out our merchandise shop with some fun Disney Marvel stuff. You get yourself some shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, pillows, coffee mugs, magnets, bunch of different fun things. Links to all these, again, are also in the show notes, because remember, this show is brought to you by listeners like you. I know these are dark times that we live in. And I always put a point here where I'm talking about, kind of your mental health and your mental well-being. And I want to reflect on that, because you do be your own hero and never give up, never give in. At this point, I also want to say to our friends in the Ukraine that our thoughts and our prayers are with you. You are our family, and we can't be there with you in person, but we are with you in spirit. And I hope for the best. I'd like to end the show, though, with a quote from Walt Disney himself. "I never called my work an art. It's part of show business, the business of building entertainment." Again, that's Walt Disney himself. Thank you again for listening, everybody, and I'll see you next time.